Hello, my name's Gary Schotten, and I'm here with you on a wonderful day, excited about life, excited about sharing you some truth that I think will be helpful to you. I hope it is. Sure like your feedback. If you feel differently or if it helps you, I'd like to know it too. Today we're going to talk about absolute integrity. Wow, that's a pretty big word, absolute. And add it to integrity, that sounds like I'm talking like I'm perfect. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say absolute perfection. I am not perfect, but I can work towards absolute integrity. And I can operate pretty close to absolute integrity if I just focus on it. And as a leader of your company, that's what's going to make the difference in many things, including your bottom line, including your profit, including your customer base, including the employees that work for you. When they know you stand for absolute integrity, that means you're not going to lie to them, you're not going to lie to your customers, you're not going to lie to your vendors, you're not going to say things to your secretary like, hey, tell him I'm not in the office and you're standing right there. Don't ever say that. If you're standing there, you can say, hey, he's too busy to take the call. You could tell your secretary, wait 30 seconds and I'm going to run out the door to my next appointment. Then you can tell them truthfully, I'm not in the office, but don't lie to them. It will permeate through your company. Now, I want to tell you some stories. I was early on in my business career, first ownership back in the early 80s, 1984, 85. I'm telling you, cash was tight. I had so little money, I had so many bills, and we had moved this particular older lady, she was probably in her late 70s even, and she was alone, and I had gone out to do the quote, and she had said, I would just rather pay you up front. Well, we don't normally get payment up front, but she wrote out a check for like $850, and I took that check, and I go in, and very rarely do we get paid early on before the job, but we have integrity. So we go do the job, and the guy that did the job's name was Joe. And Joe was a great guy, but he didn't read his paperwork. I said right on the paperwork, prepaid, don't need to collect. And Joe, being trained from the other end, we always said, make sure you get the money, make sure you get the money. He asked for the check, and she writes out another $850 check. I've been paid twice. Well, I have to be honest with you, cash was pretty tight. My thoughts for just a few minutes went through my head. Oh, she doesn't balance her checkbook. She'll never know. There's no way. This is probably a blessing in disguise. No! What are you thinking, Gary? This is a mistake. And I called her up the next day and said, ma'am, you paid us twice. Do you want us to send you the check or do you want us to tear it up? But we want to operate with integrity. Let me tell you another one. This is even very simple. I think we're judged by the simple things, and we'll do what we do when we get bigger based on what we do when we're smaller. It isn't something you're going to change overnight. It's not that you get bigger and you're going to get better. You're going to repeat what you did when you're younger unless you make a purpose to make a difference. I was at a local high volume store. We call it Walmart. You may know about it all around the world, but they are a discount store and they have clerks, and I'm in the checkout line and I pay with cash. Simple little thing. And the lady counts back my change, and I always count the amounts. Maybe she made a mistake. But in this case, I kind of took a couple steps away and then counted, and she clearly gave me $5 too much. I could have put it in my pocket. I could have said, this is just a big old company, they don't need the money. But no, I'm not Mr. Perfect. I'm not telling you absolute integrity is equal to absolute perfection, because I'll tell you a bunch of mistakes I made, but I strive to have integrity. I stepped back to that lady and said, ma'am, you gave me $5 too much. This is not my money, and handed it back to her. Absolute integrity is a part of it. I went ahead and went on down my way. I didn't necessarily feel that good about it, but I did know that I had a clean conscience. Let me talk about the machine shop we're in here now. We make parts for our customers, and our customers expect us to have integrity. I'm going to show you some parts right here that we made. And you know, we're required to keep certain information about our parts. One of the issues is we need to know where the source of the material came from. As an example, these two parts could have come from one batch of raw material, where these two parts could have come from another batch of material. So our system has it that we cannot mix these two together. Now I'm going to mix them together now because these are scrap parts, because we had to declare they're scrap parts, because that's exactly what happened. We had been careful to keep these separate, keep these identified, and we knew that we could keep and handle these differently. They're exactly the same part, but they come from a different traceability of raw materials. But we handed this to one person who was not the brightest person in our company and doesn't work for us now, but they didn't observe our policy, didn't observe our rules, and they immediately put them together. I can't tell which ones are different. We actually had to call our customer in this process, and when we found out we had already delivered some of these parts to our customer, we could have forgotten about it. There's no way, in the logic, there's no absolute logical way that they could ever know that we mixed these parts together. But we called them up and said, you know, those parts we made for you are scrap. Instead of $45, $50 a piece, they're 40 cents a piece. And there's 30 of them, but we're going to throw them away because we mixed them up and we can't keep the integrity that we're expected to keep. You know what that did for us? Lost us about 30 times $40, $1,200, but that customer knows that we will operate with integrity. We're operating with another customer because we're sharing a customer, and they know that we're going to operate with integrity and not steal their customers. We don't steal other workers. We have a policy of absolute integrity to the best of our ability, not absolute perfection. We will make mistakes, but what do you do when you make mistakes? You call up the person and you tell them, you say, on this date, at this time, I need to inform you that I made a mistake. It takes a little backbone, may cost you some money, but in the long run, I will guarantee you, money back guarantee on this lesson, that you will go farther, faster, be more profitable than you ever dreamed, because you maintain absolute integrity to the best of your ability. I hope you enjoyed this. I ask that you consider sharing this with other people. They might think on this one that you're implying they're lying to them or something, so share another one, but if you would help us by sharing these, this is the only payment we ask. Thank you.